Nuclear powers understand their responsibilities. Kim Jong-un shows no such understanding. His abusive use of missiles and his nuclear threats show that he is begging for war.
Blessed are the eyes that see what you see. For I tell you, many kings and prophets have desired to see what you see and have not seen it. To hear what you hear and have not heard it. I thank you, Father, for hiding these things from the learned and the wise and revealing them to the innocent and the simple.
State television said North Korea carried out what it called a perfect test of a hydrogen bomb. In a statement, it said the test allowed North Korea to confirm the power control technology and internal structural design newly introduced into manufacturing H-bomb to be placed at the payload of the ICBM. North Korea claims it can now manufacture a nuclear-tipped missile capable of reaching the United States. On Sunday, the regime released these pictures of Kim Jong-un inspecting what North Korea says is a miniaturized hydrogen bomb to be placed on an intercontinental ballistic missile. Tensions have rapidly escalated since just 2 weeks ago when President Trump suggested his tough talk on North Korea was working.
Kim Jong-un, I respect the fact that I believe he is starting to respect us.
As tense as the standoff with North Korea has already become, it could get worse. South Korea believes North Korea may be preparing to launch an intercontinental ballistic missile. This after Seoul's defense ministry reported North Korea's nuclear test measured at 50 kilotons. That's 4 to 5 times more powerful than the atomic bomb the U.S. dropped on Nagasaki in World War II. So powerful it triggered an earthquake felt from Russia to China. South Korea believes the North is planning another missile launch within a few days. The test launch of what some suspect will be an intercontinental ballistic missile capable of hitting the United States could come this Saturday. That's the anniversary of North Korea's founding, and leader Kim Jong-un may want to show off his ability to target the U.S. with nuclear weapons.
The stakes could not be higher. The urgency is now.
And at a special meeting of the UN Security Council Monday, the U.S. repeated its warning to North Korea.
Nuclear powers understand their responsibilities. Kim Jong-un shows no such understanding. His abusive use of missiles and his nuclear threats show that he is begging for war.
Japan, which had a North Korean missile fly through its airspace, told the Security Council something must be done.
The Security Council must act to stop North Korea from continuing down this road.
South Korean warships conducted live-fire exercises at sea today in a show of strength after the North conducted its biggest nuclear test ever of a hydrogen bomb. On Monday, Seoul used F-15 fighter jets and land-based ballistic missiles to simulate an attack on North Korea's nuclear test site, to strongly warn the North over the recent detonation. China has begun nuclear radiation emergency drills along its border with North Korea. President Trump asked in Washington if he would attack North Korea, said, "We'll see."
Mr. President, will you attack North Korea?
Defense Secretary James Mattis repeated earlier warnings that the U.S. is prepared to use overwhelming force against the North.
Any threat to the United States or its territories, including Guam, or our allies, will be met with a massive military response, a response both effective and overwhelming.
Texas Senator Ted Cruz joined the voices saying North Korea must be stopped.
This step, if it is right that they have now developed a hydrogen bomb, is a serious escalation in their ability to commit mass acts of murder. And it is going to call for further serious steps to prevent North Korea from using those weapons.
Sanctions and other measures have been tried for decades but haven't stopped the North. And President Trump chided U.S. ally South Korea, tweeting, "South Korea is finding, as I have told them, that their talk of appeasement with North Korea will not work. They only understand one thing." North Korea analyst James Cotton believes that despite its actions, the North does not want war.
I don't think that North Korea is exactly ready to deploy this weapon yet. North Korea knows that any sort of conflict would result in its destruction. And the U.S. and its allies know that any conflict would be very costly for them as well. So it's likely that we'll kind of remain in this status quo sort of standoff.
President Trump is also ramping up the pressure on North Korea's major trading partner, China. Trump said on Twitter Sunday, the United States is considering, in addition to other options, stopping all trade with any country doing business with North Korea.
We are going to work with our allies, we'll work with China, but people need to cut off North Korea economically. This is unacceptable behavior.
China says the threat to cut off trade with countries that deal with North Korea is, quote, unacceptable and unfair. The UN Security Council is set to hold an emergency meeting on North Korea after its nuclear test added another layer of urgency for diplomats wrestling with what to do next.
Tonight, at least 74 large wildfires are raging in 8 western states. They have destroyed more than 1 million acres combined. Several of the newest fires are in California.
The hills surrounding Los Angeles have been burning for 3 days, with flames coming dangerously close to neighborhoods and freeways. Fueled by 100-degree days and thick brush, the La Tuna fire is burning an area that has not seen a fire in 45 years. Burbank residents quickly began defending their homes. This man used a towel to beat back the fire as it came within feet of his front door. He ran at the very last minute.
The firefighters say they can defend it, but it's pretty nerve-wracking to watch.
We are doing mandatory evacuation.
Hillside homes closest to the flames were told to pack up and leave, while 1,000 firefighters and air power battled the blaze overnight. Evening winds pushed 50-foot flames up the canyons, creating tornadoes of smoke. Los Angeles Fire Chief Ralph Terrazza.
And we saw extremely erratic weather and wind. The wind can change directions. It can go 180 at 20 miles per hour within a few minutes.
By morning, 3 homes were lost and 6,000 acres burned. Paul DiPaolo was going to watch college football, but watched the fire instead.
You can just hear that crackling, and it makes you know that it's right in your backyard.
The western heat fueled a fire east of Portland, Oregon, that stranded 140 hikers on Saturday night. Hikers were forced to overnight when the fire grew too close to a popular hiking trail. They were still waiting to be rescued on Sunday.
Tonight, long lines, bare shelves, and frayed nerves as all of Florida braces for what could be the worst hurricane to hit the state in decades.
It's very important that everybody in our state gets prepared.
And take a look here at this Publix grocery store where all the sports drinks and water would be. The shelves almost already completely empty, people scooping up what they can when they can.
The governor already declaring a state of emergency.
This is Category 5 hurricane, yeah?
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's really scary, so you have to be prepared as much as possible.
For some, Harvey's destruction in Texas is fueling the fear.
I saw what happened in Houston, 4 feet of rain. They're saying this storm's going to be worse.
In the low-lying Florida Keys, mandatory evacuations, officials telling tourists to get out as soon as possible. Patricia and Valerie Lynn rushed here from Houston, where they were dealing with Harvey, now faced with a new storm.
I looked at them and I said, we got 10 minutes, pack your bags. We're driving to Dallas, caught a flight Monday morning to here.
Back on the mainland, the Broward County mayor warning residents not to rely on shelters.
Going to stay with family or friends outside of the evacuation zone is the best choice, since shelters only provide for basic needs.
Hurricane Irma seen from space, the strongest in the Atlantic basin since Wilma in 2005.
Is South Florida ready?
Well, I'd say we're not ready. No one is ever ready for a Category 5 hurricane.
In the 25 years since Hurricane Andrew, construction has boomed in Florida, which toughened up its building codes. During that time, nearly 1 in 10 new homes in the entire country were built in the state.
The place has grown like crazy since Andrew. There are a lot of people who haven't been through this before.
Tonight, with Irma's eye bearing down on the Caribbean, the last sandbags are being filled and the shelves being cleared out. The hurricane could bring waves up to 23 feet. Fishermen in Antigua pulling boats to safety. The National Weather Service says it hasn't seen a storm of this magnitude in nearly 100 years. The time to prepare is over. The island, the first in line to feel Irma's effects. Its airport shutting down with a prayer. May God protect us all.